Now, when you're logged in, depending on your privileges, you should be able to, the most basic is to edit the content on the page. And this is what makes Concrete 5 so great. So look, we've got lots of blocks that make up this page, many of which you will have access to, some which you won't, for a variety of reasons. And what we need to do is we need to put the page into edit mode. So we're going to come up here to our pencil, suggesting edit, and we're going to click edit. Now, if you notice, once we've clicked that, the icon has gone green. And once it's green, this means we're logged in and we're editing the site. Now, when we roll over those areas that we can edit, we get these thin green lines around the areas. And also a little tab pops up at the bottom and it tells us the name of those areas. And in some cases they'll be insightful, it might say portfolio area, and sometimes it will just be something like column. Now, at its most basic, we just want to edit some text. So let's imagine we've come to presenting our business, this area here, and this is a content block. And the website is made up of a series of blocks, which we can come to in a sec. But when we click on it, that was a left click on the area I wish to edit. So I've come over, I've put my mouse over and I've clicked left click. And I've got the option to edit block. And so I'm going to click edit. And it has a think. And what it does is it brings us up a basic toolbar, many of which the icons you should be familiar with from Word and general text editing. Now, what you can then do is simply click into your content and start going. Now, it's incredibly simple, that, and it really is as simple as that. We could, firstly, we can bold our text. We could italicize it. We could strike it through, which I have no idea why you want to do it, but there we go. We can create lists. Now, a list, well, it's fairly self-evident. Bullet points is what we're talking about. So if I go to a new paragraph, and I click unordered list, it's going to bring me up some bullet points. Now, it doesn't work very well with my center aligned text, but if I want to go item A, when I press enter, it's going to offer me a new bullet point, and so on and so forth. Now, to get out of that, I need to press enter and then enter again, and it disappears. And that way, I could, if I want to make a new one, add to it, I come back into item C and I'm going to click enter at the end of it. My cursor, as you can see, is flashing on and off at the end, and I press enter. Now, where the cursor is makes a huge difference in all of this, and so you must be precise on what you click and where. Moving along the bar at the top, we can also do an ordered list, which is just numbered. And the same rules apply. I've got to the end of my list. I don't want to add another, so I pressed enter once, and now I'm just going to press enter again. There we go. Now, the next is outdent and indent, sort of tabbing to you and me. So if we wrote something going, hello, it's a way of pushing something in. Now, I suggest you don't get too carried away with this, because it's not going to work well on mobile phone designs, and your website should be designed to be responsive. It's all right for doing one, but don't suddenly start trying aligning text elements. If I decided I want to get this, the H of hello, in line with presenting here, I could sort of be under the impression that that might provide the right sort of effect. But don't forget that if I squidge everything down, everything goes wrong. So less formatting, the better when it comes to spacing text. We really either want things centralized or on the left-hand side. One tab might work as an if needed be, but it's not really something we do. And on the web, it's not the receive norm to indent paragraphs. So we've got an indent. An outdent would do exactly the same in reverse, and that's even less elegant. I would avoid it. Inserting images. Now you can, but normally with this content management system, it is much better to insert images away from the text. The reason being, exactly as I just said, if I insert an image here, it says image web link. If I click here, rather cryptically hidden away, this is our file manager, and I'm going to insert an image. Clicked on it. It's already uploaded, and I'm going to click save. Now it comes in, and it's all right, but the problem is how this interacts with our text. There are various things that one can do to make it, if we click on it, it hashes out, and various things we can do to make it look more presentable. So I'm going to click edit. Now I can fill in fields, alt fields. This is for alts. It's good for SEO. So we just generally write, something relevant to your website, and do fill it out. It will help in the long term. Google scans them all because obviously Google can't see any images. We could link to another page on the website, so we could link this off. If I click here, we get our sitemap, which you should be aware of now, and I'm going to click project title 2 randomly. And we're going to open it in the same window as it's on our own website. And we're going to click position. Now, if we click over position, none means it just stays where it originally was. Or in this time, sorry, that's gone away. We can align it. And this is using HTML code underneath. So let us imagine that we decided we wanted it on the right of our text. We're going to click right and save. Now, it actually works okay. And the text we have here is complete gibberish, but it works better with more of it. So, excuse me, let me do this and just chuck in loads of text. Okay, and what it's done is it's done a thing called floating. It's brought our image over to the right-hand side. Now, if I just remove our items up here, this is okay, and we can let it go. But just look what will happen when we resize our window. Now, it's actually very clever because it's doing a lot of the hard work for you. It's letting this be mobile friendly. But there will be some points which are unavoidable where the text is going to be squidged out. So it depends exactly on what aspect ratio, and this may not be something that someone views your website on, and now suddenly we've gone full mobile and it's stacked it on top. So it's okay to insert images in line, as we call them, but it can be less than ideal. And if you've uploaded an absolute whopper of an image and you haven't done your resizing, you're going to have issues here with this, it all looking funny when you're trying to edit and the image being huge. The system is actually designed to help you cope with that, but there's only so much it can do. But if you click edit, you don't get an option, as you can see here, to change the size. What you have to do, and this is rather hidden, let me click save, is down here. Now, because I've floated it on the right, it's rather hidden, but down here there's a little nodule, and we can drag, and that's resizing our image. Now, that's because our image is floated on the right, it's sticking there. If it weren't floated on the right, for instance, if we're on the left, that may be somewhat more obvious. Let me show you. So, left, save, and it's floated on the left. So it does work well. But you then got issues with how the text interacts with the image. So if you place it like this and they're not in what we call columns, then you may find in various versions you've got much shorter text than you do next to your image and so forth. But in this case, let's just resize it till they work together, and that's okay. So we can then save those. And there we go. It actually works quite nicely, but hopefully the design of your website will have taken care of a sort of more elegant way of laying in images, and we wouldn't generally do this as a rule of thumb in a theme we build. So if we come back in and just finish off editing, we can add tables. So I'm just going to carry on beneath, press a few enters. And one thing I should say here now is I've pressed enter on my keyboard. There is a difference, and you'll have noticed this but maybe never appreciated it, in Word between pressing enter and pressing shift and enter. Let me show you what happens. I'm going to go this, is a paragraph. Now, I'm going to press enter and I come straight beneath. This is another paragraph. Now I'm going to press shift and enter. This is a new line. Now it's a tiny detail, but if you notice here, there's a difference in the spacing between these. And that's because every time I press enter, I get a new code paragraph, as it's called. And in this case, where I press shift and enter, I get a new line. It's a break, and it doesn't bring our paragraph to an end. Generally, new paragraphs are the way to go, and spacing is very important, but sometimes you may find that you're getting a full line return if there's formatting and so forth, and that's your issue. You need to press shift enter, because if I go here and I come up to an area formatting and I press header 2, which is default style, it says this is a paragraph and it only affects that. However, if I come up here and I press, let's see what happens, header 2, if you notice, it's changed both lines. And the point there is that under the bonnet, what it's saying at the beginning of this and the end here is make all of this. It was a paragraph, and now that's been changed to all being a heading. And it's because we press shift and enter. And so they are effectively all within the same brackets in the code. And so when you get odd behavior in Word, you get it, and you also get it in these what you see is what you get editors, then that will often be the case. And a good way around that is go to the beginning of your line where you've got some odd behavior, press delete and clear away our break. And now we're going to press shift and enter. Oh, sorry, I mean enter, full enter. Now that's given us a new line. It's taken it and we can see the large gap. Now if I select all of this and I come up here to my formatting and I just go normal text, it's reverted it back to what it was. Now if I press delete and I go back up, it's tried to help us and it's put it all together. So it may seem idiosyncratic. It's in fact completely logical, and it's all because what you're doing is a pretty version of editing this mess here, which means stuff to some people like me who build these things, but to you, it is a waste of your time and can be confusing. But what can happen is underneath the bonnet, where we have lots of paragraphs opening and closing, you can get mess and things can start flipping around. So do it cleanly, and be very, very careful when you're pasting from Word, because that will bring a lot of this messy stuff in as well. So generally paste from a basic program like Notepad or TextEdit on a Mac. Now, finally, we're going to we got distracted, but we're going to go to a table. We can insert a table. I'm not going to go into this in too much detail. It's fairly complex, but you can do it. Tables on the web are an absolute nightmare, but the program is actually set up to deal with it. It's within Bootstrap, and it should be a responsive table, depending on your theme, but it's possible that's not supported. A link, which you'll want to do. Links is linking off, and you can link to any third-party website, anything, a document. What you need to do, though, is select your text. Now, what you select matters. Be careful. If you want to include your full stop and so forth. If we're going to say this is a paragraph and we're going to select paragraph, we're going to click and select there, come up to link and go insert link. I would always recommend you go and actually copy the website URL you're after. So let's open it in a new tab, which we can do in these browsers, and I'm going to go to Google and let's just link to Google. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to copy out the address from Google. Now you can do Command C, Command V, or Control C, Control V, depending on your operating system, or right clicking and going copy. And then we come back here to our page and we're going to go paste. And it just makes sure you get all of this correct. The HTTPS ://, which is vital. Now, text paragraph, that's what we've put in our link. Should we realize we wanted to change it, we could edit it here. And now we're going to open that link in a new tab because it's a different website, and we don't want people who open it to lose our website in their browser completely. We're going to click insert, and in this case it's changed color because that's the color of our links. Now if you want to edit a link, where you click matters. Remember I said earlier about brackets? Well, be careful. If you want to edit these things, if you go in and you edit at the end and start typing, you will, if it's working correctly for you, add to that link. But it can mean writing after a link by pressing space and going like this is rather difficult, because I wanted to write a new word there. So what you may find you need to do is type in front, get a space in front, start typing, and then come back and delete. Now, some playing around will make that fairly obvious, but let us just go paragraph dot, and there we go. That is our link. Now, should we decide that we want to undo it, we can always click on the link and click unlink. I'm not going to do that for the moment. Now, select that text. Finally, we're going to say alignment. We can override the default styles. Now, the default styles are up here. They're under formatting. And these will be set up within your theme. And they're important because if you stick to these, everything will look unique. You can't start, and we don't want you to start resizing different text sizes and so forth, because it's a quick way to get the site becoming a mess. And so we follow these standardized forms set up in the website style sheet, and you should not have to be doing coloring text and resizing and font choices and so forth. So what we're going to do in this case, we're going to click header 1, and that would be actually a way of changing the format you had there. So if I wanted to change, this is a paragraph, I can go header 2, and that's actually what it was before, but I could change it to header 3, and it's made it smaller and a different color. Now, those also come with alignment styles. So this is making it on the left-hand side. We can, however, override that. So it may be that header 1 is always in the center, header 2 is on the left, and so on and so forth. We may want to override that in this position, and we're going to go alignment, and we're going to decide regardless to center the text, and that's okay. And there we go. This is a paragraph in the middle. Insert horizontal rule, actually quite nice as a divider, and it's got space built in, and it's a good way to break up text, often very useful on the web. And then insert character, rather niche, but it gives you access to a whole load of symbols that you wouldn't otherwise have easy access to. And we're going to click cancel and come out of that. And then once you're done with everything, you can click save. And there we go. We've done a large amount of content editing. And then to apply that to our website, because we're still in edit mode, we can click exit edit mode. Now it's going to offer us the chance to publish our changes. When we do that, we can go, I don't know, wilderness images added, and we can add some notes to our files for a more complicated system. It allows reversions back to old versions in future if you get that feature, and it's a fairly complex one. And what we can then do is we can publish our changes, and that makes them live on your website. And there we go. We can see it's instantly accessible, and everything we've done is work. Always worth checking your links. So if I click here, it's opening Google. We're happy with that, and it looks decent. And always worth just resizing your window and just checking what's happening if you've made a complete pig's ear of it on mobile, because your website should respond for everything. You don't want to do that with too much messy formatting. And that is a summary of some, because there's many more of the features of how you can edit the content on your site.